What's up guys, in this video I'm going to show you 4 ways that you can do sidechaining in FL Studio. Let's go! So the first way is to use the Fruity limiter for sidechaining. So we load up Fruity limiter on our baseline channel and we have this. Then we go into the kick drum channel and we want to route the kick drum into the baseline mix channel, and you just select this called sidechaining to this track. This means that we can go into the Fruity limiter, select the compressor mode, and on the sidechain, we can select the kick drum. Then I like to set the release to around here, put down the sustain. And then for the ratio, I like to have it at around 4:1. And then the magic just happens by reducing the threshold until you get the desired pumping effect. So let's just play this track. Around here really sounds nice to me, and you can see all of the docking effect here that's happening every time the kick hits. So that's the reason why I like to do it with the Fruity limiter, because I have a little bit more control. Okay, so the next way of doing sidechaining in FL Studio is to use a peak controller on the kick drum and then routing it into a volume gain plugin, basically. So we go to the kick drum channel and we go and select the Fruity peak controller. And basically what this does is it's kind of like acting as an envelope generator. So we're using the envelope, the volume envelope of the kick drum, and we're gonna feed this into a volume plugin. So this basically means that every time the kick drum hits, when there is volume, then the signal of the bassline is gonna be reduced. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up the bass to around here, and then put the volume to around here. Then we go to the bassline, and I have loaded the Panomatic plugin. You can use whatever plugin that just has a volume knob. We're gonna right click this and select link to controller. And then under the internal controller, I'm gonna select the peak controller here. This is just called Fruity peak controller and it's on the kick drum channel. And then I'm just gonna use the peak. And then we want to create an inverted formula. So that means that it's, instead of adding volume every time the kick drum hits, we're just reducing volume every time the kick drum hits. And we're gonna press accept. And now we need to play around with these knobs to make them align the volume at the same spot in the plugin. So let's just play it. Basically right now, the bassline is actually too low in volume. So we need to reduce this bass knob here. So I think it was around here. Please pay attention to how this volume knob acts, because you can see as I increase the volume here in the peak controller, it's gonna dock the signal. So this is also one really great way of doing sidechaining and also have maximum control of your sidechaining. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to let you know that I have launched a membership site where you can get exclusive access to sample preset packs, full FL Studio projects that I have made. You can also get some video track feedback on music projects that you're working on. So check out my membership site via the link in the description. Okay, let's get back into the video. So the third way of doing sidechaining in FL Studio is that you can use automation clips. So I have loaded up the plugin called Fruity Balance, and I'm gonna right click the volume knob here and create an automation clip. So basically what we want to do is we want to make like kind of a shape that's inverted of the kick drum. We can try to make something that docks the signal. So we could have like a shape like this. Maybe try to a little bit like this. So this basically just means that every time the kick drum hits here, we are going to reduce the volume of the bassline here. Cut out this automation clip, and then we can just paste it in here. And now we can also, because we have to pay attention now, it's going to do something in the 16 grid. We can do this. And then one really cool way when you're using automation clips in FL Studio is that you can actually click here and then you can just make this unique. Because if I were to maybe change this a little bit, it's not going to affect all of the other clips that I've just made. Cool. Then I'm going to highlight everything here, and then we can just press Ctrl B to duplicate this across. And then I know like the pattern is a little bit different here with the kick drum. So we're just gonna drag this over here. And then we can repeat here and just press Ctrl B to duplicate everything across. Okay, so now we can just play this and see how it sounds. So if I load up the Fruity Balance plugin here. So it's actually docking the signal every time the kick drum hits. And if you were to like not have it to dock too much, we can just increase the volume a little bit here, and we can do like this. So with like minimum work, you can actually also just adjust the automation clip to your liking. So the sidechain is the right amount that you like. Okay, so the last sidechaining technique that you can use is to use a third-party plugin like CableGuys Sidechain or the LFO tool from Extra Records. What's great about using a volume shaper plugin like this is that you can draw like a shape like really detailed. What you need to pay attention to with these kind of plugins is that they are grid-based and set to a tempo, so 1/4. However, I have some kick drum patterns where they're playing on the 16th and the offbeat, so I need to do this in a little bit of a different way. So you can actually use a MIDI trigger. This means that you can activate the sidechaining in this Shaperbox plugin from CableGuys. I can actually draw some MIDI notes. I have done that beforehand, so you don't have to watch me do this. So these are MIDI patterns that mimics where the kick drum is playing. I have used the MIDI out component in FL Studio because we want to send a MIDI trigger signal into the CableGuys Shaperbox plugin. So how you set this up is that you go into the MIDI out component and then you set the port value. This is basically the port that you want to link it to. So I set it to port number 20, and then I go into the Shaperbox plugin. I click on the settings up here, and then you can see on the MIDI, I have the input port, and I just match the number. You can use whatever number you want, and then you set the MIDI trigger mode to on. And now we have the MIDI trigger playing here, and then it should apply some sidechaining. And you can actually see the trigger being enabled up here where this small yellow button is being applied. So that's also pretty cool. And now we can just try to, if we want to change the shape. We can also reduce the mix knob if we want to have a little bit less of a pumping effect. So this is also a really great way of doing sidechaining in FL Studio. There is none of these techniques that are better than the others. It actually comes down to how you're going to imply them into your workflow. Okay guys, that's it for this video about some sidechaining techniques in FL Studio. I really hope you liked the video. If you did, it means so much to me if you smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. I have also recently launched a membership site where you can get exclusive access to sample packs, preset packs, also some of my FL Studio projects, and you can also get some video feedback on your tracks. So yeah, check the membership out in the link in the description down below. As always, I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, peace.